age-old fix is sales calls, right? So
yes.
Sales calls. But then if you can be leading from the front and driving that yourself, almost nothing's better than that. And then I think recently too, you also did all hands in Austin, a town hall in New York City. Any takeaways from those?
Well, we started doing, I would tell you for any sales leader on here, we started doing in-person all hands. So there's about 4,000 people in the Americas, and we were doing something like this, a virtual type event. And of course, you can't be in front of all 4,000 people every quarter. That's just not feasible. But we decided to go from city to city and take places. We run our digital sales organization run by Chris Keller, CK, great leader for me. And we do that in Austin. So we would have our all hands there. So you'd have a live audience. We'd have several hundred people there. And then everybody else would be virtual, but you got to feed off that energy. And even people that were virtual got to feed off some of that energy. So we've done it in New York, we've done it in Austin, we've done it in California, we've done it in a few different locations. So we've kind of made it a hybrid, if you want to call it. Yeah. And we've gotten good feedback from it. So that's the nature is behind. Obviously, it's a chance for us to do some recognition, a chance for us to do some education. And ultimately a chance for us to hear from what's going on with the team members.
That's great. Do you include partners?
Always. Typically, we have partners present as a part of it. I know we do a lot with Presidio and John Hanlon. They've done as well as with Ahead and WWT. So we're a big partner organization. We're a big believer. Our partners are fantastic. So we typically have them involved. Sometimes they're presenting, sometimes they're just part of the social part of us getting together in those locales.
Yeah, awesome. I used to, when I was at HP, of course, corporate folks, you can intermix partners and your field team, and there's obvious reasons why you want to do it, but also having them host, it's kind of the different partner facilities, which is great. Yeah. Just kind of logistics and even the cost and all that. And then they like to kind of show up there. So, get kind of partners fighting. No, I want to have you go to our office. No, I want to have you go to our office. But yeah. I mean, nothing more authentic than you being out there yourself. Hey, let's ask questions, happy to talk off the cuff, and really just getting everybody, truly inspired and motivated. That's fantastic. And then on the kind of opposite side from your troops, now you got invited to, used to be able to say the big boy table, but I guess you can't say it anymore. So you got invited to the big exec board meeting of the VMware board members, right?
Yeah, this is, it's one of the things VMware has been doing long before I joined, but the idea behind it is really incredible. And Joe Tucci is the one that he was on the VMware board and CEO of EMC. And he's the one that really started was the opportunity for board members and customers to mix in an environment where the board can hear directly from customers about sometimes things they like, sometimes things they don't like about the company, but it's a really unique opportunity to intermingle customers and board members. So if you're going to be customer centric, the board needs to be intimate with what customers are saying, what they want you to do or not do, or buy or not, or get rid of. So it's incredible to sit there and watch at a table, to have typically a couple board members, 4 or 5 customers, and usually one VMware person at that table, and just watch that interaction goes. Those board members all come out of it. We're like, wow, I really feel like I'm closer to the challenges. I'm closer to the customer. So it's been highly successful, and we run it every year, typically in New York. So it does. Customer base tends to be a little bit more financial services, but we get people flying in from all over to attend, even people coming in from Europe to attend. So it's a really well-attended event. And I think if you want to really care about customers, you get them in front of your board members.
Totally. Awesome. I wonder if Joe, though, ever did that when it's nice for him to do it when he's on the board of VMware, but did he ever do that when he was CEO at EMC?
I think there was something similar at EMC as well.
There you go. And then I almost left out, so your daughter Delaney is doing fundraising for the Penn State Thon, right, which is a great charity.
It's incredible. It's for pediatric cancer. So Thon is 100% student-run charity event that they run. It's a build up. It's planned for a whole year. Again, all students run this entire thing. What great skills they learn, by the way, in doing that. And they run an event in which there's a weekend. It's a long weekend, and they raised $15 million. It's the single largest fundraising event for pediatric cancer. And what's so impressive is that, if you have kids, I have 3, and if you have kids that are college age, they tend to be very me-centric. Their world revolves around them a lot, natural for their age and all that.
Right.
But when you have all these kids participating in something that's bigger than themselves, and not just about themselves, but about people that have, obviously, one of the worst things in the world is pediatric cancer, they step out. I think it builds on who they are, their character and their maturity, because they're really working really hard at something that's not just for themselves. So that's why I love it so much. It's a great cause. It's great for the kids. It's just all around a win-win-win.
Oh, fantastic, and awesome that Delaney's taking the time to drive that.
We're very proud of what she's doing there. She cares deeply about it.
There you go. Nothing like a shout out to your daughter. And then you're also at a annual gala, Chance for Life, with kind of long time anxiety. So Guy Chirillo, I knew back in the JPMC days. Now he's a big mucky muck, and right. So he's amazing, right.
Guy, listen. One of the things that I think is, we're very fortunate to build up a network of people, and as I said, sales has been very good to many people, and the chance to make some money, but it's a chance to give back then, right? And I think one of the things that's a beautiful thing is that so many people that are helping each other out. So Guy, A Chance of Life is something that he's intimately involved with for many years. So to be able to go support that, contribute to that, and be a part of that success, by the way, Guy gives back to so many different organizations as well. I just think how could you not give back? We've been so fortunate. One of the things that I say, we've been in tech sales. Tech sales has given, dummies like me a chance to have a career. And how can you not give back? And so I see so many of people in the industry that give back and do really a lot of good things with the opportunity that we've been given. So the Chance of Life is a fantastic organization. Guy is a class act through and through, and gives back about as much as anyone I know. So, hats off to him for what he does.
Amazing. And then I don't know anybody that would exemplify in a great way, classic old school sales than Don Giordano.
Yes. Yeah.
They just don't make him like that anymore.
No, but I tell you what, it's incredible what he's been able to accomplish. He's just, he spent roughly 25 years on JP Morgan Chase. He has some more responsibilities, but always has had, think about how many leadership changes happen in a bank over the course of 25 years. To be able to adapt to that new leadership team and to know what's important to them and to continue to be successful. Donnie is a consummate sales professional. One that I will tell you, Randy, we all learn from our bosses. And you asked me earlier on, how would you learn from Kevin and Bill Scannell? And I learned a tremendous amount. But I will tell you, I've learned more from the people that worked for me and I've worked alongside of by far. Mm-hmm. And those people, every nugget you get some, and just because somebody is a few levels below you doesn't mean you can't learn a tremendous amount from them. And so I go into every meeting saying, okay, what can I learn here? Because I'm going to exit this meeting. I'm going to learn something. And if they learn something from me, great. I hope they do. But certainly I know I want to come out with something. And I learned a lot from Donnie Giordano.
There you go. Absolutely. He's the best. And then Robert Demary, another great one.
Another great one. Yes.
And then a LinkedIn user, said, is that Relay for Life? And I think it's Chance for Life.
A Chance at Life. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. So two different things. So, all right, we probably have another 5 minutes or so left. So thanks for those that have asked questions. Any others, feel free to chime in. So awesome conversation. I'm going to kind of maybe a little bit more of a lightning round, so maybe shorter answers. So if you're talking to your reps, or kind of assume you have SDRs too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my words, not yours, but kind of just sloppiness in sales these days, right? How do you make sure, again, not to say go back 20 years ago, but how do you make sure everybody's kind of tight in terms of what they're doing and how they're doing it?
Well, the one thing that's rang true, and there's a lot when people talk about fundamentals. There's a reason they're called fundamentals. Is that they're foundational, and no matter what changes with technology or custom tools that you use to get to customers, whatever, there's certain foundations that are always fundamentals that are always going to ring true. And so to me, I'm a big believer in always doing the simple things well. And it's one of the messages I had from my leadership team is execution is doing some of the simple things really well and then building upon that. And once you have that strong foundation and the fundamentals are strong, you can build upon that. And so I think everything from, going in and running a proper sales call, proper follow-up, to ensuring that you have the proper type of proposals, that you engage and don't single-minded the enterprise and make sure that you're touching everybody in that organization. Those are things that ring true, will always ring true 20 years from now and 20 years ago. So I'm a big believer in that.
Awesome. And I might be old school.
I love that. By the way, I read those on LinkedIn. I read those all the time because, it's kind of to that point. Maybe it's not old school. These are what I believe are foundation. I think they're fundamentals, is what you're referring to. And by the way, if you haven't seen those on LinkedIn, you should look at Randy posts probably once a week or once every other week. I'm not sure how often.
Once a week.
Yeah, and it's good because it makes you think. It challenges it a little bit.
And then one this week that's gotten a lot of traffic is just around windshield time, right? So, what's your take on the value of windshield time?
Well, if you're, I think everybody knows this, but as a sales manager, whenever you're going out on a customer call, there's so many things that you accomplish in that opportunity. It's not, yes, the foundation is the customer and the sales meeting and the sales call. Of course, that is. But you get a chance to get to know that individual, get to connect and get to learn about where they came from and what their story is. Gives you a chance to maybe give some feedback that's not what I'll call it's easy to digest. You walk out of a sales call, hey, here's what I saw, here's what I observed. Any feedback for me as well? And so you get a chance to train, develop, you get a chance to connect with your people, you get a chance to obviously impact a sales campaign. So I just think that people going into it, I look at there's so many things to accomplish that it's never wasted time.
Yeah, so great and so true. So kind of a different perspective here. So I know you've got a great leader in Sean that does your SalesOps, RevOps. What's the importance you think these days of kind of SalesOps and RevOps, and how does that help you?
Well, that person, and I will tell you that Sean Barrett, and please nobody try to steal him from me, is an absolutely incredible leader. And
I'm sure a great team too.
And he does. Because he's a great leader, he's got a great team below him. What he did, that partnership with your sales ops and sales strategy, for me as a sales leader, is so critically important. By the way, if you want to be a sales leader that's out in front of customers and out in front of team, there's a lot of day-to-day things that you need to trust that person is executing on those things day-to-day. So that is a great partnership, friendship, and one that you get that right as a sales leader for success, I believe is critically important.
Awesome. And you didn't know Mike Ruckers, but one of the things you say, I'd be remiss if I didn't say such and such. So I'd be remiss acknowledging Gongs, our sponsor today, the Revenue Intelligence Platform, and can also do so much more as well. And I'm sure everybody's going to be seeing and knowing and hearing more of them as well. So we mentioned SDRs before. So for any of them early in career, trying to get ahead, you'd mentioned fundamentals. Any other kind of words of wisdom that you'd have for them?
You and I think you mentioned it. So I'm going to, one of the things as people are new in their careers, I think one of the things that happens is that you go through difficult times. This culture that we have, and maybe this is an old school thing, so I'm going to be careful. I am old, but is that when times get tough, you just move on. For people that are new in their careers, I'm not talking. I don't want to sound condescending at all, but I would tell you from personal experience that some of those tough times are some of the most important learning opportunities you'll ever have. And you actually give up an opportunity by moving on. And I'm not telling somebody that they should never change jobs. That's certainly not the message. But during the toughest times are the times that you learn the most. And there's a book, and I'm a slow reader, so I have to get simple, easy to read books, but it's called The Obstacle is the Way. And it's a book that can be read in a day. But it basically says the only times you learn in life are during difficult times. And when things are good, you're not actually growing and learning. And I would just encourage people that are newer in their careers that when they're going through challenging times to try to turn it and say, this is difficult. And we all know it is. We've all been through it. And we'll go through it again in our lives. But they are learning opportunities, and don't always give up on them too quickly.
Absolutely. I'm going to give a shameless plug, but on fundamentals, I strongly recommend your go-to sales advisor. A bunch of the people you mentioned here today contributed, kind of 90 plus CROs, tips, tricks. I've got a bunch in there.
It's a great book, and I strongly recommend it to everybody as well.
There you go. You heard it here. So anyway, so Dan, you've been awesome. Thanks so much for those.
Thank you for having me. I didn't think I'd ever make your list. This is if you get the invite to Randy's Sales Community Podcast, everything else is gravy from here on out. So I felt privileged to get the invite. Thank you, Dong, for the thank you for the sponsorship, and Randy, thank you so much for having me. I felt honored. I was a little nervous today, so bear with me.
You're good. No. Awesome, incredible. And I get in trouble now because we're actually booked out actually October of 2025. So I guess just about two and a half years every week. So who the heck knows what we're doing? But you got in early, so that's great.
Well, so thank you.
Stephen, awesome. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. For those that are members of Sales Community, thanks. If you're not, feel free to join. And Tucker, make sure this gets reposted and sliced and diced everywhere. Next week, we're going from a bigger company to smaller. Roy and Nadav, who are at Spotlight, who's a value selling platform company. So they'll be I guess sponsoring, and we'll be on next week as well. So Dan, take care. You're awesome. Have a great one. Look forward to continuing to watch your amazing success.
Thank you. And thanks for running Sales Community. I still think somebody had to do it, Randy, and I'm glad you did. I think you're adding, I think it's something that was many years overdue. So I'm glad you're doing it. And I think it's a great way to bring sales professionals together.
Awesome. Thanks so much.